It has now been some time since Ozone 12 is out, and most of the things I've seen online, if it's not just promotional material, usually it's people having some negative thoughts about what is there to be offered in the newest iteration of it. So why is the 12 better than the 11? What's so new about it? And does it actually justify the value that they're trying to charge for it? And honestly, each new iteration hasn't brought too much to come with it. I'm guessing that that is from a perspective of a person that just is expecting something, huge for the money they're being asked for. But if you look at it, some of the things that came in alongside in all of those versions, and if I remember well, none of these versions were actually greeted with like, whoa, this is revolutionary. So the automatic mastering is not something that works every time, and still they change the modules it's using over the years. The way it recognizes genres has improved, the number of genres has improved. Alongside all of that, somewhere along the way, the equalizer and all the other elements could now split the signal into mid-side or left-right or transient and sustain. So all of those small improvements came along the way in all of those iterations that happened. So the EQ from Ozone is not my favorite EQ in the world, but it is a good tool. And if you only had Ozone as your only processing, okay, let's escape the fact that it does not really have a reverb, a delay, a chorus, whatever. So this is a mastering tool. But if this was the only tool you had, well, I think you'd be pretty happy with having just this, because it can do almost anything you need. I mean, this is the 99% of anything you would need to do mastering if you only had this. Also, the algorithms in the limiter are not bad. Like, these algorithms in this limiter are good. They always have been good. Every new iteration was offering something new. So I'm not trying to sing it praises. I'm just trying to say that, yeah, every time we have a new version, maybe it's not enough to justify what's trying to be sold. But also you have to maybe see it from the angle of the developer who's, trying to produce a module that's, salvaging your transients, trying to recreate them using machine learning or whatnot. So maybe that took time, and maybe a certain person, somebody doesn't value that particular feature so much, but maybe somebody will. If you look at the tool for what it is and not just the current iteration over the last one, I think the tool is really, really valuable. Spectral dynamics in there, master rebalance that does rebalancing of the stems in there in real time. We have the stems EQ in the latest one. The unlimiter, salvaging the transients, has a lot of different tools, and also a lot of them sound really good. So what is the problem? Maybe, what they're producing, maybe it looks like a cash grab, whatever. It's not being honest or dishonest about it. What I'm trying to say is that could be the case as well, but if you look at what is being offered in it and what is all the tools that it offers, it really is a good tool. Okay, maybe you don't want the version 12, you don't want to pay for version 12 because it doesn't have too much changes compared to the last one. Still, it really is a good tool. Why I'm saying this is because I think I've mostly heard negative. It comes out to unless it's something negative, it doesn't seem like it's an honest opinion. It doesn't really have to be. Things can be good, they can be good and bad at the same time for different reasons, sometimes even for the same reason, depending on who's judging them. What I can say is always my subjective opinion. Some of the things, let's say the imager, I really like what the imager can do, and I know I used it in a lot of situations, sometimes to expand the stereo and sometimes to collapse the stereo, which could be too blown out, and it does happen. And the tools today really offer producers to make things too stereo, and it really sounds, maybe it sounds nice on a pair of headphones, it sounds better than not being stereo, but when you collapse that onto mono, and if that's ever played on a mono sound system, half of that music disappears, and that does happen. So yeah, I've used it with success to collapse the stereo. Anytime you collapse the stereo, make it more mono, instead of just moving the balance in between the mid and the side, you can actually recover some of the sides as a mono signal, because what sides practically is the same signal, but it's just inverted on the left and the right. So it's going to use some of that signal and bring it back as a mono signal. It's just going to take one of those and reintroduce it, so you're not losing the sides. You are reducing the amount of stereo, but you're bringing back some of that signal as a mono signal, so you're not losing those elements completely. That's really nice, and I haven't found that in many other plugins. I did find some that can manipulate the stereo image, but returning part of the side as a mid signal, it's not so common, okay? Does exist, but it's not so common. You can control that stereo part of the signal on the sustain and the transient separately. So just having that in each one of these modules, I think it's really valuable, but that's just what I think. So everything aside, yeah, it could be more probably from version to version, I understand, and maybe the monetization model they have is just forcing them, so they can keep up with the development. And I know that changing the look of the buttons is nothing special, just maybe to smear your eyes. It did look good like even versions before, I agree, but still I think it's a really good tool. So I don't know, not every honest opinion or honest review has to be completely negative. That's how I feel. But yeah, maybe it doesn't deserve the money they're asking for, the latest upgrade, from 11 to 12. Still, I really think it's a good tool, and I think I presented my case for why. No music today. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you don't like my stupid glasses, say something in the comments. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do. If you don't know what I'm talking about half the time, well, check out the course. The link is always in the description, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.